recently been reunited with the Des Moines community after a 4-year exclusive tour of the South. She has survived frigid waters, sorority shenanigans, and ruthless hours in the theater. She is here to tell you about one of those and is a total wuss when it comes to women. So let's give Amanda a big round of applause.
Okay, so that's not a picture of a sorority or a theater, so I'm here to talk about the frigid waters. Everyone here should have a place that is heaven on earth, and for me that place is called Land of the Noonday Sun, or known to the locals as the Nantahala River. The Nantahala River is located in the western part of North Carolina, about 3 hours north of Atlanta, and it is by far one of the best places I've ever visited. Right down by the star, it's the Nantahala in the gorge, and it's about 20 minutes or 20 miles from the nearest city, so if you need to go get groceries, make sure you don't forget anything like your cell phone or your wallet. It makes for a long trip back. But it's surrounded up in the mountains, and it's definitely one of the most beautiful places. It would be a temperate rainforest if it got a little bit more rain each year. The Nantahala River is a whitewater river. It's class 2 and 3, so it's intermediate, and it's really popular with kayakers. The season is roughly March to November, and it's not uncommon to see thousands, if not over 100,000 kayakers on the river through that season, in addition to the raft companies that work on the river as well. There are 13 companies that currently operate on the Nantahala River. Several of the companies have different outfitters on the other rivers in the southeast, but Fast Rivers Rafting specializes just in the Nantahala River, and it is by far the best company I know because I worked there. Now, there is a not so glamorous side to the rafting company, and it's the raft guides. And for 2 summers, I was one of those crazy folks. But it was an awesome job. You come from all over the southeast to work on the river. And these guys were my family. I lived with them, I worked with them, we did everything together. And we did it because we love our job. I got paid to be on the river, and sometimes I got tips. Sometimes I got food as tips. Sometimes I got beer as tips. We did it because we loved our customers. If you were lucky enough, you got 2 trips in a day, so that's 2 plus 2 is 4 hours on the river. And if you were lucky, you'd go out in a big group, 10 guides, or sometimes you were on a solo trip with your friends and family who think you're pretty much awesome because you know all the cool tricks on the river, and you can almost kill them, but not quite, and then save their lives, and then they repay you with pizza and beer. You guys kind of sensing a theme here. So with the rafting, there is still an even less glamorous side than the raft guides. Here we are having some fun. This is after hours. We are in a boat that's about 30 years old that hardly holds any water, and we're going down the last class through rapid. Needless to say, no one was in that boat when it got to the bottom. But we also lived at the rafting company, and so you are looking at our housing arrangements. We lived in old broken down buses and tool sheds, and I'm not exaggerating. There was no heat or air conditioning. My first year I shared a cabin tool shed with another girl, and the second year I was the only lucky female in 12 guys, and I lived in a church bus by myself. There was 1 bathroom. Right now you're looking at home base. So we have 2 broken down fridges and a myriad of microwaves and hot plates that we would cook our food on. And during the night, the temperatures would get down to about the 40s. It wasn't, by 2 or 3 weeks into the season, you'd have about a dozen hammocks in there, and they weren't always, occupied by raft guides. So random strangers. The diet of a raft guide consists of 2 food groups, beer and ramen noodles. Pizza is also an acceptable 3rd food group. These are both pictures from my years on the river. And so there would be beer cans. Luckily, if there was a deposit on beer cans, your raft guides would be rich, but then they would just spend it on more beer. Now, there is some hard work in rafting. On a busy Saturday for us, which was about 400 to 450 people, we would load up all the boats, and those blue ones you're looking at are about 250 pounds apiece, believe it or not. So doing a 7 raft stack like that is pretty difficult. River guides also know how to have fun and a little bit of competition. Like I said, there are 13 outfitters on that river. NOC, which is the Nantahala Outdoor Company, is the biggest and the largest and the oldest company on the river, and this is Christmas in July, where we would have to raft parades, and most of them didn't make it down the last lap of the river. Sometimes they let the river run 24 hours. Normally they shut it off at 5. But this would, if it runs past into the evening, that means you get to do a night run. And this is something that unfortunately we can never take a customer on, but you are on the river at night. The only light you have is the stars. So you are remembering your senses of the river because you get to know it pretty well. And it's one of the most beautiful and incredible and scary, death-defying situations you'll ever find yourself in. Something about working as a raft guide, the longer you're there, the more you learn about these secret spots that are off the beaten path. This is a view from a fire tower in western North Carolina. It's about a 2-hour hike to get to this point, but you can see for endless miles. Again, it's just one of these things that as you learn the locals, they kind of tell you where all the secret spots are. Hundreds of waterfalls in the area. It wasn't uncommon for raft guides on 4 or 5 of us on a day off, which was usually a Monday or Tuesday, is to go hiking and go camping and end up in one of these beautiful places and just hang out. You need a chance to get away from it. One thing you don't do is you do not take someone else's food. They will kill you in your sleep, okay? Because sometimes your customers didn't tip you in cash. Like I said, they would tip you in sandwiches, which was awesome. There's nothing wrong with food. But again, you were very protective, 13 people and 2 fridges. Fast Rivers was a family. There are generations of raft guides. Some of us were there for a season or 2 like myself. Some of them were there for 12 years, 4 years, shorter, longer. And so everyone comes back every once in a while and we just hang out. It's like family, it's like Thanksgiving. So after a busy Saturday, we'd go out for beers and wing night, and it was the best. I love every single one of these guys here, and we're all from different walks of life, and there really weren't any judgments about where you were coming from or where you were going. We were there because we worked for the best company, and our company wanted the best raft guides that they could find. And it was fantastic, and we were ridiculous in every possible sense. So if you ever happen to find yourself down in western North Carolina, I suggest you pop on over to the Nantahala River and hook up with Adventurous Fast Rivers Rafting, because it's pretty much awesome. Thanks.